Good afternoon, everyone. Today I have with me visionary, inventor, and solutions expert, Alosha Lynov. Now you're going to take a look at the website here, bioveda.co.co. Now I want to give you a quick little background, and of course Alosha can jump in and give his own take on what's going on. Now, inventor and master builder of geometrically inspiring, functionally self-sustaining, and self-regenerative ecotech living habitats. Doing this for 12 years, trying to bring communities together and get this off the ground in terms of usability, functionability, if there is functionality, to be correct on that. The solutions that we need moving forward are right now. There's no waiting any longer for what we're experiencing from the sun, the magnetic poles wandering, coming into what many perceive as a full pole reversal. We see things with the grand solar minimum amplifying exponentially faster than they should be. It's even in question, are we in the grand solar minimum now, or is the magnetic pole movement and the pole shifting having the amplification before the actual grand solar minimums here? But regardless of what's happening, how you want to quantify it, these changes are real, they're here, and we finally have somebody who has cost-effective economic solutions, because as we look around the world, we see $500,000 solutions. That's not doable for most of the population. Let's bring it back down into something that we all can utilize. So Alosha, thanks for coming on.
Definitely start investing into knowledge, and that's what our training is all about. Basically, in our training, we teach how to build an off-grid dome home, and not just a dome, we also teach. It's all based on sacred geometry, because we have the Fibonacci spiral within us. So if our homes are designed to 1.618, then we feel nurtured and protected within our home. And of course, having studied biogeometry with Ibrahim Karim, I'm working to bring in, and I've tested, check on my YouTube channel, I walk into my dome with my Wi-Fi, and it's closer to the Wi-Fi router, and my signal just goes ching, and it just drops. So I had it tested that the Cal Earth, and it's not mine, I'm not claiming any of this as mine, I'm just putting it together. I'm standing on the shoulders of the giants like Nigel Khalili from Cal Earth, Mike Reynolds from Earthship, Hajar Gibran. So, and of course we're doing it for our children, on everything is for our planet, for our mother. But anyway, be that as it may, the homes that protect us from 5G, which is on the rise, have wired every single satellite now with 5G, and next year they're switching it on. They're switching it on. And I've just watched the Sasha Stone New Earth Media, the 5G apocalypse. I don't know if you've seen it. And true as Bob, my LED bulb went off. It's off. I switched it off. My LED bulb still glows, and it's got a very special tinkering, and it goes up and it goes down. So strange. It's like my LED bulb is powered by the cell phone tower outside because the circuit is off. It's off. When a circuit, it's two wires disconnected. There's no way they can be on, and this light bulb is on. All my light bulbs are on. So what Sasha said that the 5G signal uses the LED light bulbs to intensify and go through your home to every single area. It's insane. The stuff that's going on behind the scenes is, I don't know where they're getting this technology, but it's not healthy for us biological bodies. But just to wrap it up, basically a home that protects you from 5G. It's got an air filter using fungi. It uses Earthship wetland system called botanical cells to grow food using wastewater. And some of the foods you can grow are tomatoes like gray water, mint loves gray water, papaya loves gray water, pawpaw, bananas absolutely love gray water. So there's just some of the food plants that we can grow with wastewater, just to answer your question, David. But just to go back to the home, and then it's got harvesting of water in a water tank, all blended in nicely to the house. Then it's got the biochar filter, as I spoke of. Then it's got a pump that takes it, pressurizes it to your house. If you've got any tap you open, you've got high pressure water. And then after the taps, the water goes three ways. The one goes through a simple grease trap, which we teach at the same complimentary webinar David will share about. A grease trap takes the fats and the bits and pieces out of kitchen water. And then that water, if you use natural ingredients and soda and mustard powder, the best cleaning detergent in the world. You don't need anything else. Soda and mustard powder. Just get hold of bulk of that and bob is your uncle. Anyway, so that can be gravity fed straight to the garden in a trench, contour-line trench with a berm, and it feeds that every time you release kitchen water. So that's kitchen water. Then we have bath and shower. We take that separately because it's a different type of dirty water. It doesn't have the bits and pieces from the kitchen. Correct? So that goes through a constructed
It's got soap. It's got soap, though.
Just soap, a little bit of skin particles. But, David, the plants love soap. Papyruses, bananas, and all those plants. Again, that 1,000-liter container, the square drum, you take the cage off, you take the drum, you cut it in half. Now you have two wetlands. Yeah? You take the cage, and you put the cage on top, and you put the plastic around it. Now you got a greenhouse. Dirt cheap. I'm talking $30, $50. You have
yeah, those things people throw those away. It's like a one-time usable thing, and people just toss it after that. A lot of.
So the steel drum, you actually take it up, you put it above ground, you put a sheet of plastic around, you put a sheet of plastic on top, boom, you got a little greenhouse. Fantastic. So that. Now and then in the wetland is the gravel. So this gravel, the water comes in, goes through the gravel, and then it overflows, goes to the second one, same story. And the plant roots, they suck up the soap and they use it as nutrients. Amazing. If you check on my site, these lush, beautiful leaves, bananas, everything growing because the soap is nitrites. They break it down into minerals and vitamins, believe it or not. They don't see it as dirt. Unless you put something horrible like bleach, which we don't, or chlorine, which we don't, then, it's perfect. Plants love the soap. And I'm not even talking about eco soap. I was shocked to see in an earthship using Pantene Pro V and all this other standard stuff. I wasn't even talking about eco soap. But of course, at our house, we use eco soap. But if you use eco soap, you don't have to have a big wetland. Literally, the one drum split in half gives you a wetland big enough for a family of 4 if you use eco soap. If you're using standard soap, then, triple that. Okay, so that water goes through, and then I forgot to speak about the toilet water. And the toilet water goes through a biogas digester, which is basically, it's got like a top drum with a gas pipe that comes up, and that brews up like in your stomach, makes a big fart, a little smelly, but you don't smell it. And then you've got gas for a geyser and a stove,
and the fertilizer too that comes out the backside.
Amazing. And after that, you've got the wetland. Also, same story with stones, bananas. You can do little hoops with plastic because bananas like warmth, and then the water at the end of that. I had a Department of Water CEO come out 3 weeks ago to my house. I made his hand, I took my hand, I dipped it into just treated sewage, I put it to his nose, you could lick the stuff. There's nothing there, no smell. So they're just showing you how nature really works with us. So that's it. Now the water is reused, and any overflow, that good stuff that you spoke of, nutrient, that goes to a food forest. And a food forest, a simple one is a spiral or a contour line trench, dug out, let's say a slope, and then all the soil you put downhill. Here's a trench. You take the soil out from here, you put it here, and then you basically fill it with logs, sticks, mulch, manure. Everything your neighbor chucks out, he cuts a tree, you ask him to bring it to you, he'll even pay you because now he doesn't have to pay to get it out. You have it cut up into big chunky pieces, you fill that spiral, or, it doesn't have to be a spiral, but a spiral maximizes the surface area in the garden. And any water coming down from the top of the hill in your garden goes woof, and it just drops in because it's all loose there. And then you've got 1,000,000 gallons of water in your little garden, but underground. Now that's water. And then, of course, you've got the pool, which now, I know in America you're sometimes not allowed to harvest water, but the pool, nobody has a problem with the pool. So should shit hit the fan, you have a 20,000 gallon or 10,000 gallon source of clean water, provided you're not putting chlorine in that pool, and that's why we use plants. All of that stuff we teach in a course, but the complimentary webinar teaches a lot of the stuff on the house, and David will be sharing with that.
Yeah, it's a shame back in the States, now they want to tax you if you collect water. You have to actually pay for rainwater that's coming down on your own property. And in places that, a few, more than a handful of states now that they deem it illegal for you to actually catch that rainwater because it was going to run off somewhere and then somebody else was going to buy it, and then they included it into tax revenue for the city or the state or the county.
It's
coming to the point where you can't even collect your own rainwater off your own roof on your own private property because it's getting to the point now. It's just ridiculous. And then don't get me started on the carbon taxes and the new addition of 1% here in California on restaurant bills to try to cope with climate change. And it's just going to keep going. He gave them 1/5 of 1/8 of an inch. Now they want 64 miles. It just got to put the foot down somewhere,
Well, people are not putting the foot down. So what the system is doing is just choking. And what we're going to have in about 30 years' time is we're going to be locked up. And not locked up, but literally. You will be locked up if you're going to be growing food or harvesting on water. So this is where it's heading. Guys, it's just business. And they don't give a rat's bum for anybody. It's just business. So what we can do as people is start building these communities, okay? Because this is abundance. This is true abundance. All roads on concept, permaculture, but this is now 250 acres. So David, just to correct
that's a huge amount of size. 250 is gigantic.
Yeah, we're talking about a stable food forest system with 13 layers. And really, so there's so much food in this. Even if you're not growing food in your garden, you might just grow a couple of flowers, but this thing is a food producing machine where we had excavators and machines dig out large swales. So there's a lot of food. So if you're not a farmer, like I'm not a farmer, I'll still be eating. Why? Because I'm a builder and a teacher. So whilst I teach and build, others will be doing what they do best. So if everybody does what they love and they do it best, man, we've got a stable system.
Yeah, that's what's going to be required moving forward. And I mean, 30 years from now, the whole world will be completely different. And the day that they start to say that tomato that you grew in your backyard is now illegal, you have a serious problem on the planet here. But these changes from the grand solar minimum to wind up here, I know you need to go off and do a few things for the day. But notice the change is happening. It's happening exponentially faster than forecast. And the only possible reason that we would begin into such things that are already repeating into the 200-400 year flood cycle. The deserts across the world are greening. There's more water coming down and multi-millennia cycles. It's got to be something to do with Earth's magnetic field in repeating patterns as well, accompanied with the sun, those two combining into a greater whole, if you will. The grand solar minimum on its churning cycle, that would have something to do with it, but then coupling in a whole other, set of variables, magnetic field of the Earth, then we're exponentially moving up. So these changes are here, they're going to go way faster than you can possibly anticipate. So you start getting ready, and these are some great ideas right here to look at first. This is what we need for solutions.
Just to add to that, the scariest and the strangest and the nicest thing is we need a solar flare. We really do. In fact,
soon come, unfortunately.
I am praying for a solar flare. The humanity has gone so sick up the wrong end, okay, that the only thing that's going to get us back to who we truly are as spiritual beings is a power cut across the world for 3 months. The people that come through the other end are going to be wow. It's going to be torture. I mean, we're talking about people eating each other. I mean, it's we don't want to even bring this stuff on the show, but that's how sick it's going to get. But it's the only solution to get these things out, because right now everybody's sitting on their job and they listen to the show and they're like, yeah, that's nice. And like, okay, what's next on Instagram? Oh yeah, shaking tits galore, Nam Gangnam style, 3.5 billion views. Come on, man. You know, and I don't blame them, because it's such bombardment of information. So it's the few of us that are waking up and that are realizing that this is where we need to go, and are starting to travel around the world and learn from Mike Reynolds, you know, and all these other amazing wizards who have put 40, 50 years. And that's what I've done in our online training. I've combined 6 courses together that cost me, I think, $30,000 to go and learn, plus $30,000 worth of mistakes I made when I came back. I'm like, oh my God, like stupid things like cutting a EPDM liner this high above the overflow line, forgetting that the water backs up against the gravel, you know, so the water is just spilling over the liner. So all these mistakes are in the course. So I really urge you to check out our complimentary webinar. David will be sharing the link with you, where I'll teach how we're building this and 9 pillars of successful community design, things like natural law, beauty and harmony, economics, you know, all these important things that we need to know to start these, because not, as I said, 95% of communities right now, especially in Russia, because we have 600 eco-villages here, 95% just shut down and falling apart right now. So we've studied them, and we've got a body of research that we're presenting to you at this webinar. And not to get into too much mental masturbation, we'll teach about this food growing machine David mentioned. We'll teach you about how to build a wetland and the grease trap so you can handle all of your gray water. And I'll teach you how to make an outdoor super adobe bath. So all these projects are low-tech DIY, and you'll actually have a good go at your DIY little skills. Even if you're a novice, you've never held a hammer in your life, the way I teach, you really will check it out. So join the complimentary webinar. It costs nothing, just so we can start spreading this information of cleaning water and not letting dirty water into our rivers. I'm doing it for our rivers, for our mother. So I urge you to join the webinar. Yeah, and we'll be doing more shows together, because I have such a wealth of information to share. But ultimately, we need to do this now. We can't think about it, you know, anymore.
Yeah, it's the time to do right now. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and that's correct. You know, we're going to come back and talk again, usually in about a half-hour episode, just like this, on a different topic or two moving forward. And until the next program, again, I'll leave all the links in the description box below, and I'll add some of the slides so you can see, is particularly that one image there. And there's a few others as well, more in detail, a little bit larger resolution to take a look at. But anyway, until we talk again next time, Alosha, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. You know, people want to know, what do I invest in? Definitely start investing into knowledge, and that's what our training is all about.
And for more information on what Alosha is offering in the Veda courses and sustainable economics, the link's in the description box below. Just click and go. The Adapt 2030 link is there, so you can explore more about Biotecture and how this can be used in the transition into the Grand Solar Minimum for self-sufficiency.